Hi, I'm Keith Donaldson, and this is Unpunched. We're talking to Dan Kazmaier of Steep Games, designer of Chai and Chai Tea for Two.
Yeah, when I'm looking for a new game to play, I look to my collection. We have like a shelf of opportunity, basically, games that we haven't played yet. So I'm trying to see what's a new game that has something innovative. Maybe there's a mechanic I haven't discovered yet, or there's a new spin on something. That really helps me percolate some new design ideas to ideate or connect with other things. Oh man, I was reflecting on my board game design early beginnings, and as a kid in grade 3, they asked us to make a board game. So I picked The Hobbit. My dad and I played a lot of war games, whether it was Starship Troopers or the Battle for Waterloo that I had no idea what the historical context was. So yeah, we made a Hobbit game on hexes, and you'd have to travel across the mountains to get to Smog, steal some gold. Later on, I tried to make a Civilization board game, and it was just this bloated mess, but yeah, you kind of have fun with it. In grade 7, I started playing chess in tournaments. So I've done that for the last 20 years, and it wasn't until the last maybe 5 or 6 years where I discovered modern games, and that kind of helped put me on a design journey. Yeah, it's kind of cool when people discover I'm a chess master. They're like, "Oh, you should be good at like every game." But for me, it's kind of the opposite because I like to, try new strategies or figure something out. And it's not about being good at games, but more like figuring out where the meat is in a game. So chess has really helped me, I guess, figure out kind of like the decision or event horizon of games. So I can kind of see where different trees are, where people would have to decide maybe choosing A, B, C, or D, and then that's going to branch off to other things. There's a lot of opening theory or theoretical analytical things in chess. So the first 15 moves are kind of branched out into different strategies or topics. So that kind of helps me figure out as a designer what are some main ways people should play this game, and then what are some really interesting ways that they might discover later. As a designer, you really want to have replayability, and chess obviously has a lot of that. So we call that organicity. So I'm really trying to build that into my games as well if I can. Yeah, I was in humanitarian aid before I became a board game designer, and I remember my mentor saying when he was in Kosovo in the 90s, they brought lots of water, but they weren't talking between organizations, and everyone was bringing water. But one person said they really wanted hope. So he flew in a comedian from the States, and this guy just was going around handing out balloons to people. And he said old men just wept because they had hope. They had joy out of something totally childish, but it brought them a sense of like connectedness between each other as well. So yeah, when I was in a humanitarian refugee camp a few years ago in Greece, the best way to communicate with the kids was just to play Uno with them. And they would just light up, right, as they play a +2 or a +4 on each other. And yeah, games, they just connect people. It gives them a sense of hope, and it's something we can relate to in humanities. So that's kind of what I want to bring out to people. Like, it's not necessarily who's winning, but if you're having an awesome experience with friends and family, and some strategy is definitely part of that, then yeah, I've kind of achieved my objective, basically. Yeah, I guess every culture knows how to play games like Cheat, or Uno, or they have, different rules for Monopoly, whether that's a different culture or a different family. So um, yeah, there's like a competitive nature in all of us, but there's also like a sense of cooperation. So you see a lot of games like Pandemic that people love to play these days. Um, yeah, I'm really hoping that there's more strategic games that become a little bit more mainstream and fun, because that kind of brings out another part of the gamer in people. But yeah, that's kind of like one of my, I guess, career goals, is to really make a game that transcends, I guess, language. So making games that are language independent, and then ones that really like bring out a story out of people. So even a simple tool like Rory's Story Cubes, where my wife Connie, she also helps design. She uses those cubes in the classroom, and you just roll a couple, and then kids, they start a narrative, right? And it's another way to start a conversation, more or less. Yeah, accessibility is such a big topic. I won't claim to be an expert, but um, yeah, my wife Connie being a special needs teacher, like that's always been something really important for her and me, where you want to make games that are language friendly for everyone. So there's an emphasis on the icons that are easy to look at. Also being colorblind friendly is really important. I had no idea there's different kinds of colorblindedness. So there's some interesting simulators online where you can plug in different colors and make sure your game fits that group of people that would play. Accessibility, I think, is also in the rules set. Like, is it too heavy for people to read? Like, is this at a grade 6 or 7 readability, kind of like a newspaper is, or do you need like a master's degree to play this thing? So yeah, I think that would also stem into probably playtime. I love playing games that are 5-6 hours long, but that's just such a mental drag when you have to learn the rules, and that takes half a week. So games these days that are really successful, they play in 30 to 45 minutes for the whole family, and it's usually like 4 or 5 players at least. Yeah, I'm a new dad as of 5 months ago, and um, that has shifted, I guess, my life story. Now I'm in the middle game. I'm really looking forward to seeing little Noah play games with me. Um, yeah, my mom's a piano teacher, so she wants the little guy to play piano, and I would love to play chess with him. Um, I have no aspirations to make him a chess master, but yeah, everyone has like a unique personality in their life, but also in what games they enjoy. So I'm more of like a strategic, thematic player, whereas my wife Connie, she loves cooperative games and is super competitive, but doesn't prefer that. So I really wonder what Noah prefers, and that is just what makes us unique. It's kind of like ice cream flavors. Sure, yeah. So after I was done humanitarian aid, I was like, hey, let's try to create a game. And we noticed that no one had really done a family tea game, which is an awesome beverage, of course. It's the second most popular beverage next to water worldwide. So chai in itself, the name is very much, it means tea in most languages, whether it's Turkish or in Chinese, it's cha. So that really resonated with people. Decided just to make a free version of it and throw it online, and then people kind of snowballed it into a Kickstarter campaign. So it's really just a family immersive tea game, 1 to 5 players, and everyone has a little tea shop, whether it's like oolong tea, green, white, rooibos, or black tea, and then you're completing recipes, whether it's for the Queen of England or Captain Picard or all these other interesting characters. So you're collecting like lavender, mint, jasmine, all that stuff, and then making it in your little tea shop and getting victory points. I think every game needs like a little hook. So we have these really cool terracotta teacups, and you take all the ingredients and you kind of just plunk them into the cup, and it makes like a little jingling sound. You flip over a tip, and then you get your points. So yeah, kids love just the tactile experience, which is really what makes games unique compared to video games per se. Yeah, I guess before we made our games, like we're gamers too, we're hobbyists. So we had backed a lot of crowdfunding campaigns on Kickstarter, which is a platform people use, and we're like, hey, let's try to, gather momentum, and people were really interested in buying the game. So we're like, hey, we're gonna do this 5 months from now. Here's the date in December. We're gonna give it a shot. We had no expectations. I think our goal was like $20,000, and it raised like 6 or 7 fold. So yeah, that kind of launched us, or put us in the trajectory of becoming board game publishers. It's also sometimes easier to do it yourself in many ways, because you don't have to wait 2 or 3 years for another company to figure out the theme or work through it. You can just do everything yourself. That has its own challenges though, of course, because you're not good at everything, for sure. Yeah, we built a little Facebook community. We gave away our game for free as a PDF, and then we did some giveaways. So people would fill out a Google form with their feedback. I think within like 6 months, we had over 1,000 unique people play it. So that was kind of cool because we put all of their names into the box. If you open up the lid, you'll see one of the side panels just having all their names on it. So that was pretty cool. We also involved a lot of people to do basically they would vote on, is this cover better, or hey, let's throw this character in. They would help us with brainstorming. The metal coin design, yeah, pretty much everything we crowdsourced. So that was a lot of fun, a little bit stressful too. Yeah, building a community is really important for any game to really come alive, because those are your people that are like your, evangelists. They're gonna go out and tell people about your game, and they're totally invested because they've been part of the process from the beginning. So, yeah, even today, years later, people will be at a convention and they'll run over and be like, "Hey," showing their friend, "Look at this box. This is my name right here." It might be in .4 font, but yeah, they've been part of that journey. And obviously, if you can't raise a little bit of money, you can't do your first print run. A lot of the manufacturers, they require you to have at least 1,000 copies printed. So we're really fortunate to be able to print a bit more, but yeah, it would be hard to do that yourself, just to basically bring that cash to the table up front. Yeah, well, I think just being new to anything, like there's a huge learning curve, and you are manufacturing a product which has multiple components. I kind of joke with Connie that, we should just make silicone iPhone cases, because you just need one mold and then you're good to go, and it can't break. So whether it's dented corners and you're trying to figure that out with your backers who have been with you the whole time, or our first print run, there was 4 missing cards. They were like misprinted. So then we had to pony up the cash just to send out 3,000 replacement decks to people across the world. Like those are just, yeah, tough pills to swallow, but you are trying to build something, and you owe it to yourself and the people that were with you. So yeah, I mean, there's hurdles that are unpredicted. The second one we did, it was during COVID, and the shipping crisis kind of came to a forefront. So I think we paid probably about 30,000 American more for a couple containers to reach the States and then Germany. So that pretty much took out the profit, but yeah, we still had to deliver the games, and people were really happy about it. So yeah, expect the unexpected is what my mom would say in her wisdom, being a mom. So yeah, to be honest, I just don't want to be like, an old white German guy making a game, especially about a culture that isn't our own. So Connie was born in China, and she brought a unique perspective of like, hey, let's try to make this really, sing the song of tea internationally. So we made sure to hire our artist from India, Sahana. So she really captured the essence of, let's say, the chaiwala, which is one of the major characters in the game. I think maybe, yeah, roughly half of the characters are women, which was important to us. We wanted to make sure there was kids in there. There's even a girl at a hospital in a wheelchair with balloons. That also alludes back to that humanitarian story. We have a lot of family members in the game as well, or even backers. So every card out of the 40, 60 cards has a story to tell, and we love sharing that, especially at conventions. My dad will be like, hey, this is me, or, this is this guy, and or that's my wife playing piano, right? So I think when games or novels, books, movies have all these little inside stories, that really it creates a meta story within, and little Easter eggs, which are a lot of fun. Yeah, I really like, there's one of a Mountie, and he's in a canoe just in the Rocky Mountains. My family really enjoys mountains. It's only an hour away. And that's actually of Rodney Smith. He's a famous board game reviewer and I guess influencer in the industry. We also like the show Due South back in the 90s, so it's a little shout out to that. Yeah, we have a really special scene here in Alberta. The first time we designed Chai, we were actually up in Edmonton for a game design conference, and I was super nervous. We brought some other game designs, and that kind of pushed us towards making the T1, just from a lot of feedback, and it was good to really network with other people. So not only are board gamers like super analytical and trying to help each other, they're very cooperative, and I haven't met a soul who is like, my board game company is competing with yours or something. It's how can we help each other, how can we collaborate. Group calls on, hey, there's a fulfillment thing like shipment, how are you guys doing it, where did you guys manufacture your games? There's really not too many secrets in the industry. Everything is pretty open sourced, and there's all these Facebook groups as well that help. So we have one locally as well, or every Monday night there's a little board game design evening, and people come out. Another publisher was like, hey, you should put tips in your game, and I was like, that's brilliant. So we gave it a go, and now it's in the final product, and you have your hands in different pies, and it's awesome helping each other out. I mean, supporting local is always a big thing. I think you can be part of the story of the game if you're supporting someone locally or in your network that, they just need like a little maybe share on Facebook or in their social media group. It really makes a difference compared to, maybe a mass market game that's going to be in Target or Toys R Us or Walmart anyways. You can make a game a reality just by supporting a creator, and that doesn't have to be financially as well. Like sometimes designers, they just want you to play the game. And sometimes it's not best that other designers play your game. You'd rather have a family play it, or a grandparents, or even some kids. So no matter who you are, you definitely can have a positive influence on people designing games. I guess there's a lot of misconceptions about gamers. Coming back as a chess player, I was kind of the quintessential junior high nerd who had a bunch of acne and couldn't play sports. And although that might have been true for me, I think games they have such a diverse playing group these days, and that's something we really want to promote. If games are supposed to be accessible and everyone, then we probably shouldn't be promoting those false stereotypes. So I really encourage people of different ages to play. So we always have like a trick-taking game in our car. We can play with grandparents or other friends, and games, they really break down barriers, whether that's socioeconomic. Games should be for everyone, or different cultures, going back to humanitarian aid, or age. There's all these barriers that games can break down. So that's something worth fighting for. Sure, my wife Connie and I, we design games here in Calgary. She's a full-time teacher and mom, I guess now. So you can find us at steepedgames.com or, on Instagram, TikTok, the whole shebang. So.
Great. And also for posterity, can you say and spell your name out as well?
Sure. My name is Dan Kazmaier, DanKazmaier.